I just wanted to say good morning to you, friends and family. Bible Bill from the top of the Somerset, getting ready to go into work. And I know in the Tabernacle talks, we've been taking time out every day to move along forward in our journey to pursuing God. And all the while we pursue Him, He's actively pursuing us. We're at the what they call altar of incense, which represented prayer very clearly in many passages. The smoke rising up and even penetrating the veil to the Holy of Holies was a beautiful picture of what prayer is like. And just thinking of prayer today, especially in a world where we're going through so much, so stressed out, and then the news doesn't help. It heaps on and it magnifies some real tragedies that are going on, but also just continues to just impress in our mind how people have, just they're inventing new ways of being evil. And it's troubling to a lot of people. And I thought about the disciples when they were asked by Jesus how He could help equip them. The one thing they all agreed is, teach us how to pray. And in Luke chapter 11 and verses 2 and 4 through 4, there's the beautiful pattern of prayer. And no prayer has ever been uttered, by the way, that teaches us more about how to focus on God. And it covers just the gambit of all of our needs. And prayer is two ways, as we're praying and crying out to God, which is a form of prayer, we're listening also. That's called listening prayer. But this prayer is so beautiful, and I want to break it down a little bit for us today. It starts with our Father. How many know He wants us to know Him? If you were to look for a theme throughout the whole Bible, it's a father getting his groom, his son, ready for a beautiful bride, preparing her for him. And it's a marriage. It's really a beautiful picture of marriage. But it's the Father we're looking to, and it starts off in this prayer because Jesus prayed that way. He told them, "Our Father who art in heaven." And it recognizes His power, and it recognizes His holiness, because He goes on to say, "Hallowed be thy name." Well, hallowed is worship. You're looking at God and saying, you're worthy of my worship. Nothing's impossible for God. And I just want to try and impress on you that the best thing we can do in these times of trial and trouble are to just pray. And, it gets kind of watered down. People say, yeah, prayer isn't really changing things. Well, God always hears prayer. And that altar of incense was a beautiful picture, how it was ever raising up a fragrant offering to God. Prayer also not only gives us fellowship with Him, but fellowship with one another. He says, "Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in heaven, also here on earth." So the same principles of heaven, Lord, let them apply here. And we recognize it's a kingdom. And because it's a kingdom, there's a king and a throne, and He's in control. And this prayer recognizes that. It also taps into the will of God, because He asks, let your kingdom come, let your will be done. As in heaven, let it also be done here on earth. That's just, you could park right there for a long time and just, the things that we can access from heaven, the things that we can bind on earth by the authority that we have through Christ. And then He goes on to say, forgive us this day of our debts. And He asks for His daily bread. And the daily bread can mean your substance, the things you need for the day, but it also can mean your word. Lord, give me a word today that's fresh, like the manna was each day. And He said, forgive others as you are forgiven. And so that's a big, important part of that prayer, is He says, help me to forgive those who have debt with me, who've trespassed against me, who've sinned against me. And forgive me my sins and my debts, because, am I a great debtor to God for all that He's done. And then He goes on to say, yes, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. I forgot one important element, because Satan's trying to trip me up. He says, lead us not into temptation. Don't let ourselves be led astray either. Help us, Lord. You always provide a way of escape. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. Many translations are very specific to say there's an enemy. There's a very real enemy against our soul. And that's what we're seeing played out in the news, and it breaks my heart. So I just ask the Lord today to meet all of those needs, even those secret needs that you don't even know how to cry out for. And if you're like me and you look at these giants in life, Pastor Mick reminded me one thing about giants is they always try to intimidate whatever it is that you're wrestling against. Think of David. He went and he ran towards the giant Goliath, and he was claiming all the promises of God from the past, and he was remembering how God delivered him through previous battles. And he did it for the glory of God. He says, I come at you in the name of the Lord, and today I'm going to deliver you up. And he did. He fought the giant, and he knocked him down with a slingshot, and he cut off his head. And I pray that that's a victory you can have too also today with the giants, whatever the giants that you may face. Well, I got to get into work, but I just wanted to take a minute and talk about prayer and this most important prayer. It's prayed probably more by people when they're young, and it's prayed also by more people on their deathbed. So it's an obvious comfort to so many. And I know I mixed up the order on the prayer a little there, but you can go back to Luke chapter 11 and look for the Lord's Prayer because it's the model he gave his disciples. Maybe it should be called the disciples' prayer. But I thank the Lord for giving it to us. And I'm going to be praying it throughout the day, even under my breath, because it's such a powerful prayer, and it'll meet all your needs. For now, this is Bible Bill signing off, and I call you blessed. Bye-bye.